Hello everybody, my name is Anthony Hazelwood. You are watching Hazelwood Up to No Good. I'm calling this segment Video Game Memories. Just one update before I get into this. I know I haven't been on YouTube in a while because I got personal things going on in my own life. So just expect to see us maybe a little bit more. I bought this camera, it was very expensive, and I would like to use it more. Okay. So with that, I will have an update video out pretty soon about the direction of the channel. But today, I want to do video game memories. Now, this is a vlog, so if you don't like vlogs, then maybe this is not what you want to watch. I don't know. But this is going to be a vlog about my experience through video games, maybe my thoughts on a particular video game, maybe controversial thoughts on video games, whatever is kind of on my mind about video games. So, now, I've made a lot of video game related stuff on this channel, but this is more of a feelings type video. So what I would like to do is I would like to talk today about a topic, and I would love for you guys to respond to it in the comment section below there, and just give me your feelings on the topic that I'm talking about. So this is a discussion, hopefully. So today I would like to talk, or ask the question, moreover, about maybe your first video game you ever played and how video games affect your life, or how do you feel about video games. So I'll tell you, I'll start with this, and I will say that my feelings on video games is that it really brought me through some tough times, having the ability to play something and get away from reality for a little while. So I'll preface this by saying that I've been playing video games since I was probably 5 years old, and my parents went through a divorce, and I imagine there's a lot of you out there that had similar situations where your parents were no longer together. Well, to add on top of that, my parents were pretty flaky. And in fact, to the point that I was raised by my grandparents, both me and my brother. If you've ever watched stuff on our channel before, you'll know who my brother is. If not, then he's just another person in the storyline. And so what happened was, with me and my brother, with the lack of them there, our grandparents, and this would be where I go into my first video game experience, so to speak, is I can just remember vividly our grandparents feeling really bad for us because both of our parents had flaked out and done what they needed to do in their life at that point in their life, and they decided that they were going to buy a video game system for us. And I can remember it. We went down to EB Games or EB Toys or something like that in the mall in the town I live in. And back then, toy stores were who sold the video game systems, because at that time, video games were just for kids, right? It wasn't the kind of market it is nowadays. So we went to, we went down and we bought it, and we bought an SNES bundled with a second controller, and we got my first game I ever played. We bought it with Super Mario Brothers. That was my first game. So, and I can remember me and my brother playing it, and it was just such a great experience that I had from my youth. I can remember my parents were going through a divorce at the time, and we were very sad because we were like, hey, where's my mom at? Where's my dad? Why are we with our grandparents? And I just look back on it, and on some of the hardest times that I had, I can remember just for that brief moment, for that hour or so that I was playing that video game, I could just remember not feeling the pain of abandonment from my parents. And it was such a genuine experience as a kid to, when you're going through those kind of things in your life, and then to have that, to just step away from reality for a little while and get a little bit of enjoyment out of the bad situation that you may or may not have been in. So I look back at that situation, and I think that's how I progressed through video games. I've used it as an outlet to So when I'm frustrated, or when I'm mad, or when I'm sad or whatever, to just get away and to give my mind ease for a little while, and then come back to reality, and then deal with those things with maybe a little bit more somberly, or when I'm not as worked up about them. And I'll admit, like, my life has become infinitely better as I've gotten older, and those demons had been, with my parents and all that stuff, have been worked out and to that extent. But video games made those times easier, because it was that release from reality that I keep talking about. But it really was. It was a great experience for me to have, because it gave me an outlet that wasn't me going around being a hoodlum around the town. I went home and I was like, you know what, today I want to play this video game, or I want to play this video game. And, you know, we grew up poor. We didn't grow up with a lot of money. And it wasn't like you know, back then, we had one video game. That was it. The only video game we ever bought for the duration of the time we had the NES was that game, the game we got with it. From that point, I mean, we played Donkey Kong Country, but we'd rent them from the Blockbuster, and then after a week, we'd get as far as we could, and then we had to send them back. But I'll tell you, even with that, even if we had bought the games, we never beat Super Mario Brothers. But I could vividly remember how far I got on the game, right? It was great. It was such a genuinely fun experience as a kid, because we didn't know how to play that game. We were 5 and 3 years old. You know what? We got as far as the inside that cave area. We'd open up Star Road there, and then that would be it. We didn't get any further than that. But we had fun. It was a genuinely fun experience for us as kids, and it was something that stayed important to us to this point. And so here's what I want to say. This memory was so good that I grew up and I continued to play video games, and I continued to enjoy them and to that effect. And as we got older, you know, as life went on and we had to go into work and I graduated college and all this stuff, it was one thing I kept with me. And this is what I want to say to all of you guys. If you enjoy something, it doesn't matter what it is, you know. If your way of getting away is to go to a movie theater or to go run a mile, you won't catch me doing that. But if that's what you want to do, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. If it is something that helps you out to get to a better place, if you are in a bad place, don't let them take that away from you. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, it's none of their business. Because I've been told several times that video games are for kids. You know, what's wrong with you? Why are you? And that's just not the way it is. You know, video games aren't for kids. Video games are for everybody. And they may have been marketed for kids when we were younger, but now they're an outlet for people to just relax. And that's that's the lesson I've took from this in my life, is that you can have what you love to do. Like, for instance, I love cameras and I love to film, but I also love video games. And so what I do is I mix those, and I talk about video games, and I film, because those are the things that are important to me, along with my daughter and on all that other stuff. But it is an outlet, and if you love it, go for it. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Don't let anybody put you down for being who you are. This has been Video Game Memories with Anthony Hazelwood. Thank you, guys. I don't want to say too much more about that. I could go on about this forever, but I really appreciate you guys listening to my story. Now it's your turn, if you guys would be so inclined. If nobody answers, I won't talk about it next week. If someone does, I'll definitely talk about it on the next episode and read some of your guys' responses. So feel free to comment in the comment section. Please subscribe for future videos, as it will help grow the channel. And if you have a friend that maybe has an interesting experience that you know about, that maybe wants to share about their experience with video games and their first experience and stuff like that, also let them know about this channel so that they can give their response. Thank you, guys. My name is Anthony Hazelwood, like I just said, and I'll see you guys next time.